And the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
Number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris.
What's going on internationally? How did we get to the place where, Putin decides he's going to just invade Russia? Nothing like this happened in World War II.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, January the 7th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And so it finally happened. Justin Trudeau, he is stepping down as Prime Minister of Canada. He gave a statement yesterday where he said that he intends to resign, and he has gone rogue. No, he has not gone rogue. He has prorogued. Prorogued? Is that the right word? Yes, prorogued the parliament, dissolved the parliament. And that means that the Liberal Party will now have until, I believe it's March 25th or March 17th or March 23rd. They're going to have until middle to end of March to select a new leader. And the other parties, including his coalition party, the NDP, they have all signaled that once this process, which is going to take place with the Liberal Party and they select the leader, comes to a conclusion, they will push for elections. But there might be the possibility that the coalition partner, NDP, which has been propping up Trudeau and the Liberal Party for many, many years, that they might go along with the new leader and go into coalition. Is that a possibility? Could that happen? I think that could happen. Anyway, that is the news from yesterday. I talked about this in my video update yesterday. We got Trudeau's statement on video, which was my opening video segment from my update yesterday. But I have not talked about his actual statement, Trudeau's statement, and what happens next, at least how I understand it as to what happens next. I believe elections are set no matter what for October 2025, no matter what happens. There should be elections in October of 2025. But we'll see if the Liberals manage to hold on to power until then, or if we get elections earlier than the October date. So that is Trudeau. He spoke to the media, he spoke to Canada, he spoke to the world yesterday. He said that he discussed things with his family, and he came to the decision that it was time for him to resign. He intends to resign. I spoke to my family, and I also called Olaf Scholz because I don't make a decision unless I consult with my good buddy Olaf. But I decided that it is time for me, Big Balls Trudeau, to resign. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go back into my home. I am going to watch Barbie for the 17th time and drink a glass of Chardonnay And tomorrow we will begin the process for a new leader for the Liberal Party. The Zelensky curse, everybody, taking down Trudeau, but Trump seems to have a different opinion as to what took down Trudeau. Trump believes that it was his tariffs. His tariffs and his posts about Canada and Trudeau being the governor of Canada. Trump posted on Truth Social. Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of the Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. Russian and Chinese ships constantly surrounding Canada? Really? Is that really happening? Is Canada in a Russian and Chinese naval blockade? I don't know. I don't know. Man, that sucks. That sucks for Trudeau. He's been trying to govern Canada. All the while, there's been a Russian and naval blockade on Canada. No wonder things were going so bad for Justin. It was those Russian and Chinese fleets, man. By the way, Taiwan. Isn't Taiwan blaming a Chinese fleet for cutting a communications cable? Is this the new trend now? Are we going to blame Russia and China for every cable that's allegedly cut? Internet is slow. Must be China. China cutting that cable again. Or maybe it's Russia cutting that cable. Oh, man. Interesting post from Trump on Truth Social, which I believe Elon is going to purchase or merge with Twitter, or something like that's going to happen. Something like that is going to happen. Elon and Trump, they'll take Truth Social and fold it into X. No doubt about it. But Trump also posted about Greenland. Spheres of influence, everybody. Trump is saying some crazy stuff with regards to Canada, to the Panama Canal. Greenland, he is saying some pretty crazy, pretty provocative stuff. But there is a method to the madness, in my opinion, and I believe that Trump is trying to put together some sort of U.S. sphere of influence, a sphere of influence that would rival BRICS, right? Who cares about the EU? No one wants the EU in their sphere of influence. Just stay away, European Union. The U.S. doesn't need you anymore. You guys just stay right where you are. What we're going to do is we're going to build a U.S. sphere of influence. BRICS is going to be doing their thing, and that'll be the multipolar world, right? That's the plan, in my opinion, that Trump is putting out there with all of these posts on Truth Social. But getting back to Greenland, actually Indonesia is now officially a BRICS member, right? Indonesia is officially part of BRICS. The fourth largest population in the world is now part of BRICS. I was reading a post on X which said that with Indonesia in BRICS, that means that 50% of the population, or a little less than 50% of the population, is now part of BRICS or BRICS Plus. Is that accurate? You have China, India, Russia, Brazil, Indonesia, Iran, Egypt, South Africa. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. That's unstoppable. That is unstoppable. I believe the G7 is under 10% of the population. No doubt that BRICS is 4 times that. BRICS is a force. Man, it is a force. Very powerful force. No wonder Trump is looking at building his own his own U.S. style of BRICS, I guess you could call it, his U.S. sphere of influence. And that is going to include Greenland, if Trump has his way, and if Denmark folds, and if Greenland has a referendum. I talked about how the prime minister last week is actually now hinting at some sort of referendum, saying that he is tired of Denmark's colonial ways. That is what he said, the prime minister of Greenland. So Trump posted on X, "I am hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son, Don Jr., and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the most magnificent areas and sites. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation. We will protect it and cherish it from a very vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again." Make Greenland great again. Not MAGA, it's MGA. Make Greenland great again. Oh, man. All right. So Trump Jr. is going to go to Greenland, but this is not an official visit. He's not going to go meet with the prime minister or any other officials in Greenland. He's just going there to see what it's like, I guess. He's going to see what it's like and then report back to his father. And who knows what comes next? I guess what comes next is Trump becomes president, and then he tells Denmark how much you want for it. And Denmark's going to sell it, or are they not going to sell it? Or are they going to give it? I don't know. I don't know what happens next. I really don't know what happens next. I don't know what the plan is. All I know is that we need to be looking at spheres of influence. That's what's going on here. Whether you like it or not, that is what Trump is hinting at. So Musk, he is taking on Stammer in a big way. And he posted a poll on X. America should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. At the time of recording this video, it was a yes-no poll. At the time of recording, yes was at 58%, no was at 42% with, am I reading this right? 1.998 million votes. I'm sure that by the time this video goes up, that will be way over 2 million votes. But I imagine the percentages are not going to change that much now with 2 million votes. 58% to 42% are saying America should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. You know what's happening with Musk? He's taken on Germany. He's going to be doing a Twitter Spaces with Alice Weidel of the AfD, and he's taking on Stammer, and he's talking about getting rid of the British tyrannical government, regime-changing Stammer. The U.S. is talking about regime-changing Stammer. Wow. Wow, this is like the globalist EU political class getting a taste of the medicine that they've been dishing out for the past, who knows how many years. They tried to regime change Georgia Dream. They were part of the Maidan coup along with Obama, Biden, McCain. But the EU also played a role in Maidan. Of course, Project Ukraine was all about trying to regime change Putin. Along with the United States, the EU, and Soros and the NGOs, and the National Endowment of Democracy, they're always trying to cause trouble and regime change governments, right? Talking about tyrannical, authoritarian governments that have to go. They have to go because they don't have our Western values. But now it looks like Musk is talking about the governments in Europe having to go, right? Everything that they've been doing to the world outside of the collective West, Musk is dishing it back to them. Of course, the United States has also been the main driver of regime changes over the many, many decades. But it's Europe that is getting a taste of the regime change medicine, and they don't like it. They do not like it at all. They do not like Musk talking about how the Schultz government needs to go, talking about how the Stahmer government needs to go. Trump talking about Greenland leaving Denmark and coming to the United States. They don't like it. Doesn't feel too good, does it? To have other countries, other powers, other oligarchs talking about regime changing you out, huh? Stahmer? Schultz? Doesn't feel too good, does it? No, it does not. Macron's in a panic. He's next. He is next. Once Stahmer goes, once Schultz goes, Macron's all that's left, huh? Macron and Meloni. All right, so we were talking about Stahmer, yeah. Stahmer, Macron, they're all panicking. Meloni's very clever. She's moving towards Trump and Musk. She sees the writing on the wall. I think she was in Mar-a-Lago just the other day. She had a meeting with Musk and with Trump. And she's saying, I'm jumping off this sinking ship. She was a part of the ship. She was a part of the EU and the globalist crowd, but now she sees that they're sinking and she's leaving. So it looks like Macron is going to be left alone. It'll be Macron and Stahmer. And Stahmer's, I don't know how long Stahmer has, because Musk is going after him big time. But the kleptocrats in Europe, they don't like it. They don't like it. An oligarch going after them. It's not a good feeling, huh? Anyway, let's talk about the panic that is setting in. The panic that is setting in. Pressure mounts on EU to use legal weapons against Musk's interference. European Commission says it will study whether X gives unfair boost to far right in German election. Right. They have to study if X is giving an unfair advantage to the far right. To the far right. Yeah, they did not complain. They didn't complain when Jack Dorsey had Twitter and he had a whole office dedicated to the FBI, like a physical office for the FBI to sit in. Then the European Union had no problem with that. Back then, they had no problem with that. Nope, they have no problem if the Zuckbot meddles in the affairs of Russia or Hungary or the United States. They weren't upset when Trump was being canceled by Facebook and all of the social media platforms and Twitter, Jack Dorsey's Twitter. They weren't upset with that. Nope. But they're upset when Musk weaponizes Twitter against them. He's not even weaponizing it. He's just having a Twitter X Spaces with a politician, a politician who could very well be the Chancellor of Germany. She has a shot at being the Chancellor of Germany. He's going to have an X Spaces with the possible Chancellor of Germany, and they consider this meddling. Jeez, man. You see how scared they are? Macron says Musk is backing a new international reactionary movement. Wow, that sounds scary. 10 years ago, who could have imagined it if we had been told that the owner of one of the largest social networks in the world would support a new international reactionary movement and intervene directly in elections, including in Germany, Macron said in a wide-ranging foreign policy speech at the Élysée Palace. Damn, man. Who could have ever thought that? Who could have ever believed that one day an oligarch would own a social network that was not friendly to the globalists? They never expected that, or was on the different side of the globalists. Yeah, a different kind of oligarch. An oligarch who is not supporting Macron. And this has Macron Worried. Reactionary movement. Damn. They're panicking. They are absolutely panicking. In the same speech that Macron gave, where he didn't mention Musk by name, actually just said social network in his speech, even though it's obvious he's talking about Musk, but he didn't mention Musk by name. But in the same speech, Macron talked about Project Ukraine, and he said that Ukraine should be realistic and perhaps cede territory for a ceasefire. Macron is now talking, flip-flopper Macron is now talking about Ukraine ceding territory in order to get to a ceasefire. He'll change his mind tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow he'll be talking about sending 20,000 French troops to Odessa. Make no mistake about it. Flip-flopper Macron. Let's see what he said here. Let's see what he said. The Ukrainians need to hold a realistic decision on the territorial questions, and only they can do that, the French president said. The United States of America has to help us change the nature of the situation and convince Russia to come to the negotiating table, while the European members of NATO have the responsibility to craft security guarantees for Ukraine, Macron added. All of a sudden, realism has found its way into Macron's empty head. But you notice that his statement is really not so much about Ukraine. His statement is about the United States not dumping the EU. That's what he's really afraid of. The U.S. ditching the EU, breaking up with the EU, not continuing to support Europe and funnel money into Europe and to NATO and support the lifestyles of the politicians. That's what he's really worried about. He's afraid that Trump is going to negotiate directly with Putin without the European Union there, without Ukraine there. That would be a real slap in the face to Macron and to the EU kleptocrats. That's what he's worried about. So basically, Macron is saying, look, Zelensky, maybe you should start accepting the fact that you're going to lose some territory if it means we can keep the United States committed to us, to the Europeans, to me, Emmanuel Macron. That's what he's really saying. The United States of America has to help us change the nature of the situation and convince Russia to come to the negotiating table. They have to convince Russia to come to the negotiating table. Every freaking statement that Putin makes, every statement he makes, or Peskov, every statement that they issue is talking about them being ready to negotiate. Every single statement. We're ready to negotiate. We're ready to negotiate. We're ready to negotiate. That's all they say. We're ready to negotiate. And Macron's talking about the United States having to bring them to the negotiating table. You see how tricky, how manipulative and tricky Macron is? Macron is basically telling Trump. Here's what Macron is telling Trump. See, Trump is signaling, I'm going to talk to Putin, right? And Macron is saying, hey, Trump, we gotta get Putin to come talk to us. Yeah, me and you. Trump should be looking at Macron saying, who are you, man? Yeah, I'm going to talk to Putin, but where did you come into the picture? When did you come into the picture, man? And Macron is trying to slide his way in and say, yeah, absolutely, Trump, absolutely. Yeah, Ukraine can give up territory. Yeah, they should give up territory. We just got to, me and you, we just got to get Putin to the negotiating table. He's very, very sneaky, that Macron, huh? Sneaky flip-flopper, little Napoleon Macron. Jim Bro Macron with those big bulging biceps as he's working the heavy bag. Anyway, the Washington Post, the editorial board, they put out an article with the title, Ukraine risks losing the war. A Trump-imposed bad deal would be worse. A settlement that dismembers Ukraine and rewards Putin will undermine U.S. credibility. Basically, their argument is that it's better. It is better for for Ukraine to continue to fight to its annihilation against the Russian military than for Trump to work out a deal with Putin. Because if Trump works out a deal with Putin, then the whole architecture, the whole collective West architecture crumbles. The European Union, NATO, all of it, it all crumbles. So it's better if they just continue to pump money and weapons into Ukraine until it's completely defeated by Russia. Chaos. They just want to create chaos. That's the strategy. It's better to have chaos than to agree to a ceasefire and to a peace, a Trump-Putin ceasefire or peace. That's what the Washington Post editorial board is arguing in this article. As the publication writes, Ukraine now risks losing the war, but a bad deal imposed by Trump could be the worst option, since a settlement at the expense of Ukrainian territory would be a reward for Putin and undermine the trust in the United States. And it talks about undermine the trust in NATO and the EU. That's the key sentence. That's the key statement in this Washington Post article. The sentiment of this Washington Post article is we cannot, under any circumstances, undermine the existing collective West architecture. So it's better to just keep on pumping Ukraine up with whatever it needs so that it can continue to fight Russia, even if it means that Ukraine is destroyed. That's a better option, according to the editorial board of the Washington Post. The Financial Times, they put out an article with the title, Putin plus Trump spells trouble for European security. And you can see the picture of a big bear, a big freaking bear, taking over Europe with some toy soldiers there as well in this featured image, about to face off with the bear. Same thing as the Washington Post, the same exact thinking, analysis as the Washington Post. The worst possible outcome for them is a Trump-Putin peace deal, a Trump-Putin negotiation. That's the worst possible outcome for all of these guys. Nothing's worse than that. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Very sad, man. It's very, very sad. But, it's expected. It's expected. The globalists, the neocons, the neolibs, what they fear the most is that their way of life is going away. Things are changing, and their way of life is going away. Multipolar world, BRICS, spheres of influence. Things are changing. And they don't like it. They don't like it at all. They prefer chaos. So in Austria, big news, very big news. The Freedom Party, Herbert Kickl, is getting his chance to form a government in Austria. The Freedom Party that is for ending the conflict in Ukraine and for better relations with Russia. The Freedom Party that won the elections in September and was prevented from initially forming a government. That Freedom Party has now been given the mandate to form a government, to get a crack at forming a government, most likely with the OVP, Nehammer's, right? Nehammer's party, who was Zelensky cursed. He was the chancellor. His government collapsed. He was unable to form a three-party coalition, and his government collapsed. He resigned just a couple of days ago, and so Austria, they have now decided that they have no choice. The powers that be in Austria have finally come to terms with the fact that the party that won the election, the Freedom Party, should have the right, the mandate to form a government. And so they're going to try and form it, I believe, with the OVP. And if they can form a government, then you could be looking at another country aligning with Orban and Fico. Big news, very big news coming out of Austria. So let's do a clown world and we can wrap this video up. And in this clown world, we have an update on Salome Zurabichvili. We have a Salome update. What happened to Salome when she left the president's office a week ago? What happened to her? Where did she go? Well, now we know. Now we know where she went. Here is an ex-post from the McCain Institute. Just announced, the McCain Institute is proud to welcome Georgian President Salome Zurabichvili as its 2025 Kissinger Fellow. And the image here actually says President Salome Zurabichvili, McCain Institute 2025 Kissinger Fellow. Not ex-president, not former president, not disgraced. Disgraced and humiliated, embarrassed president. Nope. She still remains president. The Juan Guaido of Georgia. President Salome Zurabichvili. I imagine the McCain Institute's in Arizona, right? Named after John McCain, the U.S. senator who coined the term, the lie, the propaganda that Russia is a gas station masquerading as a country that has done so much damage to the United States and the collective West. The fact that so many people bought into that statement from John McCain. Yep, he is lost cat. If you manage to find this cat, call this number. Yeah, he was a senator in Arizona, and now he has his institute, his neocon institute, and I imagine it's in Arizona. And so that's where Salome will be spending some of her time, I guess. She's not going to be in France, or maybe she'll be traveling from Paris to Phoenix. President Salome Zurabichvili. There was a post underneath, a reply underneath this ex-post from the McCain Institute, from Brad Pierce, which says, "It is hilarious that this is the post that making an absolute fool of herself and betraying her country got her." That's a pretty spot on statement, huh? She betrayed her country. She made a fool of herself. I mean, she really made a fool of herself. And her reward is a position at the McCain Institute. Really? She didn't get the IMF or the World Bank or anything like that. She got the McCain Institute. Man, oh man. Of course, there's another comment underneath this post, which says, John McCain played an important role. This is from Levan Sokanelshvili. John McCain played an important role in shaping the Georgian state. He is deeply cherished by Georgian people who will always honor his legacy and remember him with gratitude. Remember, John McCain, his protege was Mikhail Saakashvili. That was his protege. Never forget that. His mentor was John McCain. And it was John McCain, I believe, who was pushing for the war with Russia. So this actually makes sense. Salome Zurabichvili at the McCain Institute. Either way, it definitely makes our clown world. That's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update. You will find a link in the description box down below. This is an outdoor theater in the heart of Athens in the summertime. All the chairs are here, and that's the screen, of course, and people watch movies outside. It's actually a great way to spend your evening. All right. I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care.